Hi, I'm Garm1, and this is Midgardia's cool crowdfunding show. I'm here today with Chris Koger and Wes Ascolese. How's it going?
Going great, Garm.
Doing good. Thanks for having us on.
I'm glad to have you. So you're here to tell me about Beyond Deep, so why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Guess
Either
I'll
of
hop
you.
in first. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
go for it, Chris.
As on the screen, Wes and I look at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond Deep is at its heart a Morkborg adventure. It is now spanning kind of 80 plus pages. So it is full of every kind of map and creature, monster, encounter, character, things like that. But it centers around a company town run by a mining company and the mine itself. So besides all of your, end of the world apocalypse, Morkborg weirdness, it touches on themes around worker exploitation and kind of what life is like at the bottom of it all, even at the end of the world.
I'm a big sucker for like horror in company towns, which are just sort of horrific as a concept. Um, but for those viewers who may live a blessed life and not read much into some of the many horrible parts of capitalist exploitation,
Yeah, the backs in which our country was built upon.
yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you tell us what a company town is?
So yeah, Company Town is this sort of, as you said, a pretty horrific idea. It sounds cool on paper, but basically, a mining company will find a prospect and create a mine, and they're like, well, we need people to live here, to work here, and we're about 100 miles from any major populated area. So they'll set up a store, a doctor, a school, and then a bunch of houses and a bunch of land, and pay you to live there. And that sounds awesome, but turns out when all of your needs are being controlled by this one capitalistic super entity, it becomes a bit hard to break away from that. They're multi-generational uh, prisons of capitalism, spanning decades. People just can't get away from it. But originally, it's roughly 1800s. I mean, probably prior, but they were really big in the 1800s and then turn of the century when coal became a much more important commodity. And so, why not add a real life horror to the horror of Morkborg and make it even more scary?
I mean, it's two kinds of horror. 'Cause company towns are kind of a banal horror, right? Like it's eating away at your soul, sure, and
Yeah.
it's horrible, but like slowly, you know?
Yeah. Much like real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I am just grateful that I will never have to like move to Fordlandia or something like that.
Yeah. And just
Absolutely.
and it's actually kind of why we put it into Morkborg, is Morkborg has this general um kind of since it's the end of the world and since it's a very tangible apocalypse, you kind of just do whatever you want to do. Um and then adding a nice, like, oh, of course we're gonna still go mining every day and make money, even though tomorrow could be the last day of the world. It gives it a very realistic and tangible uh, flavor.
Well, that doesn't feel starkly relevant at all.
Not one bit. It's completely fantasy, and
Yeah.
no one should read too much into this.
Yeah. Situations and encounters are purely made up and should not resemble the real world in any way, shape, or form.
Any resemblance to real people
Yeah.
or events is purely coincidental.
Real or fictional
Yeah,
ennui.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what what do you do in this horrible company town?
So that's the cool thing is, turns out if you die there, you still get to work there. But
Great.
yeah, so one of the psalms, so in Morkborg there are psalms or miseries that are put upon this awful, wretched land to signify the end of the world. This one particularly is Psalm 5 of 5:5, where a great stone crashes to Earth and causes a bunch of destruction and misery. Now, what better way to get money but go check out what that stone is? So this company, Thunder Trove Mining Company, comes in and creates a company town, and everything seems pretty okay. People are making money, people are living. But then turns out something weird's happening in the town, and um, turns out the Thunder Trove company is into necromancy, which in Morkborg isn't that out of the ordinary. But turns out if any of their workers die in the mine, they're being brought back to work in the mine. And people have some misgivings about that, as you might imagine.
For some reason, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, like Les and I have talked. Like, I like fantasy and sci-fi and how they play with ideas. So having a necromancer bring workers back to life was kind of like, how far can we push this idea? Oh, cool. Like you work so hard that you die and now your body just keeps working. And we're going to use your body to undercut the rest of the living workers that are there and pay them less and, not have to provide a safe of working conditions and stuff. So,
Yeah, because, like, if you die on the job, everybody wins. You don't have to pay your bills anymore, and we don't have to pay you. Everybody
yeah.
uh, One of our we kind of didn't have a intro scenario, but then Chris came up with this wonderfully twisted, basically a bunch of workers confronting the mine security, and one of the ladies is talking about how now not only does she get paid less because her husband died, like her family gets paid less, but now she has to work alongside his corpse down in the mine. So that seemed like a pretty good. And the funny thing is in the writing, we often are like, yeah, they could side with the mining company if they wanted to, but I just don't see how you do that. With, I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there who's like, yeah, I love this awful company that's doing these horrible things, but I probably don't ever want to meet them. But if they want to play my adventure, by all means.
Yeah, I mean, if the villains from Captain Planet pick this up, as long as they pay you for it, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is the skeletal workers thing, or like, are they skeletons or zombies, or how much flesh they got? This is not important. I'm just curious.
Varying amounts.
All right.
They all have this twisted sort of however they died, they come back in some fashion of that. They're mostly zombies. Like they're mostly fleshy bits. In fact, we have one that has extra fleshy bits called the crushed. Any workers that die in a mine collapse or something, or maybe an explosion where their body parts are getting flung off, they're stitched back into this horrible Frankenstein's monster thing with multiple limbs, and used used as basically pack mules to get the ore out of the mine.
That's
This is why
yeah.
I mean, that's why I said, like, this is why I like Morkborg also, right? It's like we get to play in this space and make these like really horrible ideas, but all these horrible ideas are existing along with the kind of underlying ideas about, you know what I mean? What we want people to think about while they're playing the game. So, you can look at like how terrible the workers' rights are and what's going on, but also I can throw this horribly disgusting thing at you and kind of make you go at the same time.
Well, and the nice thing is, if you look at the zombies, or the animate, what do we call them? Animated
Animated
undead,
dead.
animated dead. Oh, I try to stray away from the Z word.
We don't
Just
say the
for
Z word. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
word, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
But you can look at like how they died, and you get this sense of, well, what was the important parts left over is what the company is going to use. They don't have any reverence for the body of any type, and so like the drowned, who are individuals who died via drowning in a, like, if they mined into a tributary or something like that. There are now these horrible, basically pieces of bodies floating around in a containment suit. But now they can go down into any waterlogged area and drain it out, or do what have you, simply by virtue of how they died. They're given upgrades in that area. So
You
I
can
find
only
that
drown once. I think that's what
correct.
the kids
Yeah,
say. Yoda.
correct. Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
Well, you only
You
drown
know.
once.
Oh,
Man,
God.
that's too
Amazing,
good.
Garm.
Are the awakened or are the animated dead inspired by the old like dead peasant insurance policies companies used to take out? If
I
you're
have,
not
yeah, I'm not familiar.
uh
Please enlighten me.
so
Please go on.
up until 2006 in the US, it was legal for companies to take out life insurance policies on their employees
Yes.
without telling them, and that went just to the company. So if they died on the job, the company got a massive windfall, in an
Amazing.
accident or something.
So no, but yes. It wasn't intentional, but that's lovely. And
Yeah.
quite
So
horrific.
starts furiously taking notes, from the interview. Yeah.
Also, the fact that the like common name for them is dead peasant insurance is just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it
Oh,
really
my
is. Wow.
God.
Huh. That would be
It's
a
just
sick name for a zine. Dead
That
peasant
would be
insurance.
actually.
that would be.
Well, there you go. This
There you
doesn't go out for a few days, so you got time.
Yeah.
Get that Kickstarter going. Oh,
Yeah.
God. Chris, I'm taking life insurance out on you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's now illegal to do that without the employee's
Damn it.
consent and knowledge. Tragically,
Yeah.
What
You
a
know.
what a communist hellscape
Yeah.
we live in.
And talk about perverse incentives, huh? Like,
Yeah. Also, just saying it out loud, like dead peasant insurance.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine like doing that in like 2002 or
Yeah,
whatever? Like,
a board meeting.
yeah.
Yes, we're going to take out 500,000 life insurance policies on all of our horribly overworked
well,
employees.
the bad news is that production's down because the sugar factory exploded. But
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a wild world we live in.
it really is.
Yeah.
Also, congratulations on like 300% funding at the time of this interview. By the way, that's pretty excellent.
Yeah, I was very pleased. I was looking to fund, and then we did that in 4 hours, and I was like, oh, now I have to work more. But it is quite nice. Sorry, I'm coming off of 2 12-hour days right now, and I'm just like, work, ew.
That's understandable.
Yeah,
Just gotta like keep stapling more stretch goals on there.
Oh, that'd be a good visual too.
Yeah. I mean, it's very exciting though too. I think we're right at 3,800 or something. So
Yeah,
we're
almost to our third extended stretch goal, which is pretty awesome.
I would say what the exact value is, but I'm Canadian, so it tells me in Canadian, which is not actually helpful.
Here, let's see.
It's like, yeah, you're at 4,946 Canadian dollars.
Amazing.
Is...
I mean, it makes it sound like we're doing even better. So,
if I mouse over the thing, you're at 3838, which is a good.
Oh, there you go. There's also a good number. Yeah, we're very excited, and we're talking about doing some print on demand stuff for our more for our international backers,
like me.
So yeah, so we hope to do that in the next coming weeks. We'll have that set up before the end of the campaign, hopefully. If not, we'll figure something out.
Shipping from Canada to the US is gruesome, or shipping from the US to Canada is gruesome. You don't want to do it.
Yeah,
It costs me
Um,
as much in shipping to order stuff from Japan as the US. I don't know what's
yeah,
going on there.
yeah, that seems to be the general. We were just talking with another individual yesterday that apparently it's like pretty much just $25 flat all around. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
but something bad.
The postal system works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird that you're just over there. We're on the same landmass, but when I ship to the Philippines or
Yeah.
somewhere else, that I'm paying the same amount of money.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
But
Somebody
yeah,
on a big shipping
Yeah.
boat.
So, is Beyond Deep oriented more towards people who are familiar with Morkborg, or people who are just coming into it for the first time and really want to die in a company town?
So it is structured around the background of Morkborg. However, I think in the first paragraph, maybe the second, we wrote that basically you could put this into any setting that you wanted. Even with a little bit of work, you could put this in a sci-fi setting or a modern setting pretty easily. Um, I mean, necromancers are just old timey cyborg creators or any version of soul enslavement you want. So,
Ah, yes,
I
the
mean,
mines run by the ancient Sith lords.
yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty dope.
I mean, they do have the Sith alchemy going on, so like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Yeah, you
slap.
definitely like we said, it does have those ties into a bits of like the specific Morkborg lore, but if you want to drop a horrible place into a setting and have some horror moments, then you could
Yeah.
definitely do it.
I mean, Chris did go a little hog wild on the true grotesqueness of the creatures, but I mean, that could be an alien. The flesh esca, which is this horrible anglerfish, terrestrial anglerfish that uses corpses as like marionettes.
Yeah, I'm looking at its picture right now.
So that's even not it's going to be much worse.
Oh, good.
That's
Yeah.
that's filler art that I just kind of cobbled together. But yes, next to it is the ore devil. It's hard to see. It kind of just got washed out by the but the ore devil's like a big horrifying silverfish that latches onto your body and eventually melds into your flesh. So you got some good creepy crawlies along with some zombies.
I love anglerfish inspired things because anglerfish are just friggin' terrifying conceptually.
They
So,
are.
Chris, tell Garm how you did some
God.
anglerfish research and was like, man, this will make a great creature.
Yeah, well, no. So I took my family to the zoo here in San Antonio, and we don't go very often, but we had passes, that someone else had given us. So I said, "Oh, hey, free day to the zoo," and they were doing this whole deep sea, underwater exhibit and everything. So we were like, "Oh, this is pretty radical." And I kind of just went from like display to display and panel to panel, like, "Oh, ooh, oh, this is sick." Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I need to make a creature out of this. And then, got to the sea devil, which is a specific kind of anglerfish. And, I'm texting Wes now, sending him pictures and going like, dude, do you know how this reproduces? The male just like gloms onto the female and
And
links blood vessels and just
of
kinds of
course,
gets.
being the freak I am, I was like, yes, I know exactly how this works. It is
Yeah,
really cool though.
yeah. And I was like, oh, and this and that. And I was like, man, I really want to do some like inspired by all of these creatures, kind of monsters. And then Wes is like, "Oh yeah, you mean like maybe deep underground in the dark, in the book we're working on right now?"
Right
And I was
now.
like, "Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's exactly what I meant. Absolutely."
It's all coming together.
yeah.
Yeah. So it came together. So then I finished that day and went home and just like started furiously typing, a bunch of ideas. So it was
Nope.
fun. But I mean, it's always fun, like real life inspiration for stuff. there's a lot of things out there that are kind of terrifying, and they make for good, fake terrifying things as well.
Nothing beats a good trip to the zoo.
Yeah. Terrifying and horrifying in its own right, but we will get into that actually.
Yeah.
Because that's our next.
Yes, the Mork Zoo. Mork Zorg.
Mork Zoo.
Mork Zorg.
Mork Zorg. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. You got Chris's wheels turning. I literally said, because totally off track here, but this is a little bit into how the creative mind works when you figure out you can produce a zine for $1,000.
Only 1,000.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's dangerous knowledge for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how we approached it. We're like, we can just do this, can't we? and then now we're very much into our but yeah, so I had a friend who mentioned that they wanted to make a role-playing game off of addiction and recovery, and using specifically a D12 die to mimic or to go along with the 12-step program, which is ubiquitous in the recovery scene. And then we were just talking about it. We're like, how do we do this? And then I think I mentioned that that we should do a trifold, like a pamphlet for recovery, and then Chris's brain just goes, and so we could do this, and it was just quite fantastic to watch in real time. So always throw out because initially it sounds like a stupid, gimmicky nonsense thing, but then we're like, no, this will sell, and we can donate all the proceeds to recovery and some sort of charity, and it'll be really cool, and we'll show all the different facets of that sort of thing. So that's kind of how this came about too, is just cool idea after cool idea.
Maybe a controversial opinion, but raising money for charities, pretty kick-ass actually.
Yeah. Pretty good and cool for everyone involved, turns out.
Yeah, also absolutely. Donate blood if you can.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Ooh, that'd be a cool.
My wife is O negative, so she gets that call at least once or twice a month. Like, hey, can you come back in? That'd be great.
With your blood.
Yes. I'm donating blood in exactly 1 week from right now, actually.
Oh yeah.
Nice. That's great.
Love to see it. I couldn't for 3 months because I got a magnet implanted in my hand, and they still kept calling me, and I'm like, I wish I could, but
yeah,
it's no longer in my hand. I had to get it taken out, but these things, they happen. I'd do it again.
I would gladly get a magnet implanted in my hand again.
I've actually got the replacement somewhere over there.
Oh yeah.
Off topic, but the casing on it broke. And they sent me a replacement.
Oh yeah.
Went to the ER. I'm like, I need you to pull a magnet out of my hand. They're
like, what?
How did it get in there? I paid a guy to put it there. What?
Yeah. And said use of magnet is
fun.
What?
Okay. Yeah, I got that one 3 or 4 times. So I'm just like, I can lift things with it. I can feel magnets. I can tell you where a magnet is because my hand clanks against it.
I'm trying to be a cyborg here. Just let me live my life.
Yeah.
There are so few ways to do that aren't horribly dangerous. And yet here we are in the ER.
Here we are.
Yeah. Once again, as a friend of mine says, we're in the worst version of a cyberpunk dystopia, basically.
It's so bad because if I wanted to get an internet link up to my cerebral cortex, it would be awful. Not only would there be ads, even if I paid thousands of dollars, but I'd just get malware on it.
Yeah.
It's walking around the city and every sign, street sign, billboard, whatever, is just replaced with hot Russian singles in your area, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's no help to me. I'm married.
Yeah. Come on. Amazing.
So, beyond deep.
Yes.
horrible
Yes.
company towns.
Yep.
You can move your 16 tons of horrific pain and
Yep.
maybe die, because I assume that the giant rock from space is not good to be in contact with for a long period of time.
How could you guess?
Ooh.
Do you have
It's
like
almost-
Boy,
do you have a piece of
that-
art recreating the guys at Whitnum, Australia, doing the like tailing shoveling contest with the asbestos dust? Because
No. Then what? You're teaching me things, Garm. I have
I
not
am-
heard of this horrific.
I will find you the picture after this interview, but it's
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things where at the time I'm sure it was very fun, and looking at it now it's just like, oh no.
Well, and asbestos is great until you start to breathe it.
Yeah, and when you're throwing piles, like throwing it quickly into a barrel,
yeah,
yeah, you might breathe in a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah. Huh.
Uh,
But yeah,
the history is horrifying.
it's magically radioactive. You know,
Yeah,
horrible
yeah.
things happen to you if you come into contact with the stone.
The stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. The past is terrible, and I'm glad to see that you're putting it into this horror game. Past was the worst.
Yeah.
And
And so many terrible things.
And, like, genuinely, I'm glad to see something focused on like bringing back the horror of company towns, because that is one of those that could absolutely resurface in the next like 20
easily.
years.
I mean, if Amazon starts to get into the real estate business,
Amazon is exactly who I was thinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
that could happen at the drop of a hat.
Or like
I
Disney's horrible little town that they run. Yeah. Which is not technically a company town, but it is. It's close.
Yeah, might as well be.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to start seeing the like Fortune articles pop up that are like, "Hey, the new modern company town really isn't that bad after all."
Yeah.
These up and comers are disrupting the real estate industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Well-
Amazon gives you 3 square meals of nutrient-rich goo a day.
Move to the Tesla Hypertown. Guaranteed employment. Like,
Get a free Prime account also.
I
That
feel
would
like
get so many people.
it would. Love that free Prime shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that good old meme where you wake up Christmas morning as an Amazon employee is putting on a Amazon sweater onto your body and telling you to shush. It delivers it to your home.
Yeah.
I live in it's the worst timeline. This sucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is why cool little RPGs are great. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like a little nice hit of serotonin to escape my horrible meat prison.
This interview got really dark.
Yeah, sorry everyone.
Yeah.
Buy Beyond Deep now on Kickstarter.
Yeah. That way you too can have a fun and enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Not at all relatable to the real world.
Yeah.
It's completely fantasy.
All on
Yeah.
Wii is completely unintentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that is though we talked right about like that is kind of one of the best parts about role-playing games is like you get to hop into a different version of yourself or something that's completely not yourself, you know, and make decisions that you necessarily wouldn't make and, you know, try on a personality or do something crazy without the stakes of your real life. You know what I mean? Like being a part of it.
Aside, you get to you cannot punch your horrible necromancer boss in the face in real life, so you get to do it in Beyond Deep.
Yeah, exactly, which is very satisfying.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
That
no,
boss fight is good.
yeah, like, you know, we joke, but it is really important to be able to, yeah, look at those experiences from a different angle, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
I feel like there's a word I'm looking for, but it's escaping me. Like re-look at your life
Yeah.
from a different perspective.
Yeah, we like to use the term that RPGs are cathartic around here. Very good for your soul. I mean,
Absolutely.
my longtime D&D campaign that I've played in, I never had made a character that was a self-insert, which is, I realize now, not the norm, because I always wanted to play something different than myself. But then I made a self-insert character, and I got like some free therapy out of playing D&D, so that was pretty cool.
The dream.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, this looks awesome. The art is cool, and I hear going to be better. So that's excellent. And yeah, company towns, real bad. Read about Fordlandia if your mood's doing too good someday.
Yeah. Yes.
Chris likes to bring up the Battle of Blair Mountain also,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is
I
wild.
tried not to today.
No,
but
it was in
yeah.
my brain, and I was like,
Yeah.
let's just get it out there. We've mentioned it in every podcast. It might as well be.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's an RPG based on the Battle of Blair Mountain
Really?
called The Price of Coal, which I really want to check out. So,
Well,
Absolutely.
you'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair, so yeah.
Correct.
Yep. Got it. In one.
Alright, well, it has been great having you on. If you're still watching this, please go back this project, back Beyond Deep, and get stabbed by an anglerfish, and then work in the coal mines for the rest of your unlife. And by coal, I mean horrible radioactive space stone, which is worse, but also
Yeah.
better, but mostly worse.
Hooray!
Hooray! Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.